And hello and welcome everyone to another installment of the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. We're not exactly the highest energy. We're at a nice medium energy tonight, Matt. We both talked about how the days are getting quicker and quicker and longer, and how even when we're done here, we got a lot of stuff to work on.
Yeah, I think it's both safe to say we're both kind of a little bit tired. It's that kind of end of
Mhm.
the week slump.
It certainly is. It's Canadian Thanksgiving here, like tomorrow. So when I'm done here, I'm gonna literally go and prep a turkey and prep pumpkin pie and everything else.
Nice.
I literally saved it to the end because I'm like, well, if I do it now, then I just have to put stuff in ovens tomorrow. So that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. But what about you? What have you been up to?
Not a lot, not a lot. Building more Gundams. I
Nice.
made the terrible decision to buy Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, yeah. See, I was so close to getting that. I'm like, okay, I can buy this now, even though it's not all the classes and all the other stuff are out yet. So it's complete, but it's not complete.
Yeah, no, for an early access game, it's quite good. It's
Oh
very
yeah,
well
from what
polished and everything. There's a couple of problems with it, but yeah, I've been really enjoying it. I'm playing a halfling, not a halfling, a half elf ranger.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks
it's a
freaking
lot
dope.
of fun.
It's from the same people who did Divinity, yeah.
Hmm.
Which is just like the most adorable story ever. Like, hey, we've made this Divinity thing. It's a lot like Dungeons and Dragons, isn't it great? Hey, who's making the next official Dungeons and Dragons Baldur Gate thing? Oh, the Divinity people. You don't say that was their audition.
And you can tell that like everything they learned off those Divinity games they put into here because you're like, oh, they've got this feature that came over from those games and this feature, and they've included like the dice roll from this and all that sort of stuff, and it just all works really damn well together.
I regret to say that you were nice enough to give me Divinity for Christmas last year, and I played a little of it, and I'm like, oh, this is overwhelming. There's a lot
Oh
to
yeah,
take in here,
oh
because
yeah.
because it's one thing to play the game in your mind, it's one thing to roll your actual dice and everything. It's another when it's like, okay, there's actual systems behind this and everything.
Yeah, it's so dense and it just takes up so much of your
Mhm.
time. Like I remember when I first played Divinity, that first like sort of area, the fort that you start in, I spent
Yeah, yeah.
probably a good like at least 20 hours in that fort, just like doing all the little quests and finding all the little areas and everything. And it just takes up so much of your time.
Definitely, definitely. What else have I been to? Ooh, I finished The Boys this week, and we will be talking about The Boys season two.
Yeah, oh
So
boy.
again, if yeah, oh boy, indeed. So if you're worried for spoilers, you might want to mute us for that segment, but that's coming much later.
Hmm.
I've also been plunging the depths of Amazon Prime to see what's on there because I've exhausted everything on Netflix in this quarantine, starved for entertainment. I found a British show about bouncers, so I've been watching that. That's a lot of fun.
Nice. There is some very good like gems on Amazon Prime, and then there's stuff that's like, oh, that they bought this for like $2 and just
Yeah,
slapped it on here.
absolutely. Like this is barely a show.
You got to watch. I don't know. It probably would be on your version of Prime, but on mine there's a great documentary called The Lost Souls, and it's about the making of the '90s version of The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh.
And oh my god, it's probably one of my favorite documentaries. They got this guy called Richard Stanley, who I love his films because they're all so fucking weird. He recently did the Color from Outer Space with Nicolas Cage. Um, but he was scheduled to direct it, and it's this whole like thing where it's like, oh, he didn't think he was going to get the job, so he used witchcraft to make sure he got the job, and it worked. But then like the guy who did the witchcraft became ill and cursed, and
Oh
it
no.
cursed the whole production. And oh, it's really great. It's really a great story. And they
That
it's funny because they shot the film near where I live, so
oh no shit.
like it's cool seeing all these people that are like live in the area and whatnot.
That does sound like something I would really enjoy. What else did I watch? I watched The Role Players, which again, hilariously enough, was a Dungeons and Dragons documentary. This was like before it became cool again with like Critical Role and
Hmm.
everything.
Hmm.
And I watched one too on like a small town Dr. Pepper plant
Okay.
that was like kind of the history of Dr. Pepper, but also like this last holdout. of a plant that like still made it the way that it was made like back in the Wild West. It reminded me very much of that quest line from Fallout New Vegas about the sarsaparilla and everything. It was basically like that. I'm like, oh, clearly they saw the same documentary.
Oh, that's cool. Does that mean it has like cocaine in it?
Yeah, really. Is there secret hidden cocaine in there? Man, I wish. No, it's just the cane sugar. But yeah, that was pretty interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah. So good weeks had by all. Again, going to be really busy near the end of the month. I was just telling Matt before we started. Nothing is really 100% official or announced yet, but you might be seeing me on some bigger convention streams, and to help hype that up, we might actually be getting a very fun guest here on this show. So be sure to keep your eyes peeled to all my social media as that comes closer and closer.
Yeah, Joe told me who it is before the show, and it's a very good guest. Very good.
Yeah. It's someone Matt is a big fan of, so I'm like, hey, man, if you actually have any questions, write them down, and I will totally try and get him to answer them for you. Again, yeah, as we head to the end of the month, too, we're heading into the big video game season there. We got Pokemon The Crown Tundra. Very excited for that. We got our Cyberpunks. We got, Legion and new Assassin's Creed. A lot of big Ubisoft stuff.
Yeah, I actually checked out the Call of Duty Cold War beta this weekend, and
oh shit, was that a thing?
It's really fun. It's next weekend as well, but it's really fun. I really enjoy the game. I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I was looking at that. What makes it different from the other Call of Duties, if anything, or is it just a good version of the Call of Duty you've played before?
Yeah, it's just kind of like a more refined version of Modern Warfare. Like, it's still got all the same sort of hallmarks as that. There's a couple of different changes in certain, like, how classes are made and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, it's hard to explain because it just like feels really good. Like, the weapons all feel like they actually can do something, like they're all a viable option. The game flow is really fun on the maps that I played, as well as the music's really good because it's like a synthwave 80s sort of soundtrack, which is really cool.
I do love the Call of Duty series. It's like, well, we've exhausted every real world war. We've created some fake war. So let's do war fiction. Let's do wars that didn't happen but might have happened at some point. The Secret Wars. That's going to be the next Call of Duty. Call of Duty Secret Wars. All the other soldiers are going to get taken out into space and
it's going to be all like the main characters from like all the Call of Duties from like the beginning, all coming together to like fight, I don't know, an evil zombie or something.
Hey, it's Soap, and I don't actually remember the names of any of the other playable
just Soap.
I guess Player from that one where that was the joke where your character's name was Player and you were the player.
Yeah.
That's one. Oh, the chat's reminding me, hey, did you see that new trailer for Animaniacs on Hulu? Yes, I did.
I did not.
It looks really fucking cool, and the joke is that it's a giant parody of Jurassic Park.
Oh, that's cool.
It is, only the joke is that it's Steven Spielberg in the role of like Hammond, the guy running the island, and I'm like, that's funny. Because, yeah, like Spielberg in real life saw a lot of himself in the Hammond character, I'm sure. It's like, you brought them back? Yes, I reanimated the Animaniacs.
That's pretty good.
Are they zany? Oh, to the max. And it just goes on like that for like 3 to 5 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, that's about right. Yeah, it might actually be a good revival because they got all the original voice cast back.
Mm-hmm.
So they got that going on. A lot of the same, like, humor and like parody gags that they did before. It is a little weird that the show looks different now because they're clearly animating it on computers now.
Yeah. It looks a bit more cleaner.
Yes, it looks almost too clean.
Yeah.
Is the thing where they even make a joke about that too, where it's like, oh, the lines are different now. Ooh, and it's widescreen. So they're very, very self-aware.
That's cool. That's good.
But yes, that's going to be Hulu in November.
Oh, nice.
Speaking of Hulu, I looked this up too. Hey, wasn't season 3 of The Orville supposed to come out soon?
Yeah, I was, because I remember just at the start of this whole pandemic thing, I caught up in the entire show. And it's good. Yeah, I would have thought, because they just recently had a comic book series debut.
They did. That's what made me think about it, because I saw that on the docket for next week. Apparently, they didn't start filming till October. And then they only got about half of the shows done before the pandemic hit, so they never actually got to finish it.
Oh, damn. Well, maybe we might see like a part 1 and part 2 of the series, maybe.
I would like that very much because again, we need some Orville in our life.
Yeah, I guess like all the TV shows are going to be starting to come back very soon.
Whichever ones can come back. Like I know
Yeah.
I mentioned before, I'm a big Law and Order junkie, but it's like, are they even going to be able to bring the show back now? Were they even able to film in
Mm.
the off season with coronavirus, or is it literally just going to be everyone standing around, but they're all just wearing masks, and that's going to be the thing now? Look, we got to catch that sex criminal, but also remain 6 feet away from him.
How are we going to find him? He was wearing a mask.
Exactly. There you go. Actually, like, no shit. I literally think that's what the first episode is going to be, because the whole thing about Law and Order is that, everything is like, taken from like real headlines and what's happening in the world. So no shit. I actually think that's what the first
Oh,
episode is
I
about.
have no doubt in my mind it will be about that.
And also Stabler is supposed to come back at
Yeah.
some point too in this season, which I'm very excited for. Good old Christopher Maloney, who ironically was also in a Call of Duty game, so we bring it all together.
He was also in Happy, which is really good. And speaking of just like a random like sort of connection, I watched a show recently. It was an adaptation of Brave New World. It was very, very, very good, and the people behind it are just the most insane like group of people you'd never expect. Grant Morrison developed it, along with Brian Taylor, who was one half of the guys who made the Crank
Neville
films.
Taylor, yeah.
I like saw that and I'm like, that can't be like the real Grant Morrison, and I looked it up and it is.
Is it like a TV show, or is it like a movie?
It's a miniseries about Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. I think it aired like start of the year or something. I completely missed it. I only saw it because it recently came on one of our streaming services here, and it's really good. It's got the guy who played Han in the Solo films in it, and all that, and it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Oh yeah, it was on Peacock, is what it was. No wonder no one saw it.
Yeah.
Was on Holy shit. Well, might have to add this to the list. I'm also I finished Pen 1-5 this week, the 2 seasons of that, so I figured I was going to start Yellowstone because you said nice things about Yellowstone.
Start Yellowstone. Do it.
It's also from the same guy who did Wind River and what was that other movie I really enjoyed?
He wrote Sicario. He did Hell on High Water.
Hell on High Water, that was the one. The best movie that didn't win an award that year.
Yeah.
Also, the same guy who was the sheriff on the first couple seasons of Sons of Anarchy, and then they killed him off because he wanted more money. And he got his revenge by going and writing excellent TV and movies. Holy shit, I didn't know that guy was so fucking talented, but he is. Seriously, if you've not seen Hell or High Water or Wind River, see them because they're truly excellent.
They're very good films.
They're really, really good. And with that, everyone, believe it or not, this actually is a comic book podcast. I know almost 20 minutes in, sometimes it's hard to tell.
It can be hard to tell, yeah.
It can be hard to tell, but we promise it is a comic book show, and comic book news is what we have. So let's look into that right now. I guess one of the biggest stories from the week is Invincible got a trailer, the brand new superhero adaptation coming to us from Amazon. And the timing on this was kind of perfect. It's like, hey, The Boys is done for the season, but don't worry, we got a new thing coming.
Oh, that was the game, because Invincible is very much like The Boys.
It's a deconstruction of the superhero genre, although you would not clock that from the trailer. No. The trailer plays it all incredibly straight, but then again, I guess that makes a lot more sense to sell Invincible to people who have never seen it before, because comic book fans know, oh, Invincible, that thing from Robert Kirkman, the Walking Dead guy, which they were sure to mention in the trailer. This hero can actually grow up and grow old and have children and die, and he's not stuck in a never-ending series of like reboots and restarts.
Yeah, well, not only that, was that the actual comic book series kind of sells itself at the beginning as like kind of just like a superhero comic book, and then you get that twist with Omni-Man. But yeah, I guess that's what they're going for with this trailer as well. They don't want to give away the twist. There is the scene in there where he like crushes that guy's head.
Yeah.
But it's hidden. You don't know it's Omni-Man that's doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does a really good job of like hiding stuff from like the general audience and whatnot. So I'm intrigued to see what it'll be like once people actually see it.
Yeah, totally, because it's like we know where it's going. We know there's going to be a twist, but for everyone else, it's probably going to be something new and crazy, which admittedly was behind a lot of the success of The Boys, too. Where like people go in and watch this and be like, oh, this must be like, all the other superhero stuff I've seen.
Yeah, and they're treated to Homelander masturbating over New York City.
Man, I bet Garth Ennis just got like a little choked up and a tear in his eye when he saw it. He's like, oh, it's me vision come to life. He's not that Irish. He's a little Irish, but still. Oh, it's everything I wanted. Yeah, superheroes, they do just jerk themselves off into the wind all the time. That was fucking hilarious. But yeah, we'll talk about The Boys when we get there, because I imagine you and I have a lot of thoughts. Now, the voice cast for that show, because, like, first and foremost, it looks great. It looks like they pumped a lot of money into this.
Yeah, there's some actual animation going on.
And, again, that not to, like, dissuade stuff like Harley Quinn, which was great and everything, but at the same time, it's like, man, this reminds me how, like, superhero cartoons used to look when they actually spent money on them.
Yeah.
To which fucking good on you, Amazon, for taking that money and actually putting it into something.
This is the money the boys raked in for them.
Clearly, man, action cartoons, so hard to come by. So when you get them and when they're actually like, I say traditionally hand-drawn, but I'm sure there's a lot of computer stuff in here I'm not seeing. Nothing is 100% hand-drawn anymore.
No.
But yeah, our voice cast here, we got Steven Yeun as Mark Grayson / Invincible. That's Walking Dead kid, right?
Yep.
So it's nice to see him in there. J.K. Simmons, who, obviously you couldn't miss him as Omni-Man. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sandra Oh is in it as Debbie Grayson. Mark Hamill is in the show as Art Rosenbaum. And, oh, look, another Boys connection, Seth Rogen as Alan the Alien.
Well, I think he developed the show.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because he kind of developed The Boys as well.
Yes, he did. Did you ever think Seth Rogen, silly Seth Rogen, would end up becoming such a freaking producer powerhouse for superhero stuff?
Not at all.
Like, literally, he's living the dream right now of being like, yeah, I made silly stoner comedies, which made me a millionaire, and then from that, I used my power and pull in Hollywood to get things I like made. Like Preacher, like The Boys, and now like Invincible.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
What's he gonna do next? I feel like Seth Rogen is such a powerhouse now. Send him things you like and hope he reads them / watches them / turns them into something. I would love to be Seth Rogen's weed dealer and be like, hey man, come right on in. Hey man, sit down, smoke a bowl and let me tell you about this thing I love.
He's the one who's giving him all these ideas. He's just finding like random comics at his weed dealer's like waiting room.
He's just pulling it out from his stacks. All right, man, so let me tell you about Hack Slash. They almost developed it a couple times. Tim Seeley, it's kind of a deconstruction of the horror genre and, the last surviving virgin concept. It's really solid shit, man, especially in the later volumes when they start explaining, where the slashes come from. They make it very cultural, and I think it would be really good right now. Yeah, man, sure, whatever. Also, hey, thank you, Nostra Comics, for following.
Thank you.
You know what Nostra Comics is a reference to, actually?
What's that?
He wrote me and explained it to me. So Sal and I did a show for Elseworlds Exchange, and he jokingly, I think he threw out there like, oh, way to go, Nostra Comics. And I'm like, holy shit, that's an excellent fucking name. Someone needs to take that right now, or I'm going to do it. Flash forward like 6-7 months, and this guy actually took it. And I'm like, good on you, man. That's a good fucking
that's
name.
Great. That's great.
Because I make that joke all the time where it's like, man, if that's not taken by the end of today, someone's fucking up. But he is not fucking up. He took it. But yeah, so Invincible, this is pretty fucking dope, and also I'm sure another feather in Robert Kirkman's hat. Like he needed it. But there it is. He gets to have another big kick-ass thing that everyone's going to be super into.
Yeah, it looks really... Do we have a timeline of when that's coming out?
Oh, I want to say there was a release date on it, but if there was, I don't remember.
I would think they would strike where the iron's hot and be like, you like The Boys, that just recently finished. Here's this other series that you might like.
I don't know if they totally have it in the hopper yet or not. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Does it say here? Spin-off over 140 issues. Yes, I know that. The plot, blah, 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 blah. If there's a release date, I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, I don't think there is.
No, that's a shame. Again, this came out as part of New York Comic Con, which is not going on right now. It's going on online. They called it Metaverse.
Hmm.
But yeah, this was one of the premier things. Okay, all they're saying is 2021, so sometime next year,
Okay.
which feels like most things right now are like when sometime next year, maybe if the world gets right, but we don't know. Some people are really holding out to that shit too. Like Patty Jenkins for Wonder Woman is really holding on to 2021. Have you
Oh
seen
yeah.
that?
Oh,
Or no,
lots of them are.
or no, she's holding on to Christmas. She still thinks Wonder Woman's coming out at Christmas.
Even that's like the last film that has been for like this year. Everything else has gone to like next year, like mid next year.
Hmm. Trust me, I would love to go see it if I could, but again, I just don't think that's going to happen. And I know not everywhere in the world is the same as North America right now. Like all the movies are going to be in New Zealand. New Zealand is going to get all the new
Yeah, I'm pretty
movies.
sure we are as well because we haven't had any new cases for a while. So
Ontario shot the fuck up actually this week, and they had to shut down a bunch of big hotspot centers. They didn't shut everything down, but they shut quite a few places down in Ontario. I think it was like 900. It was like a 900 shoot up.
god damn.
I know that was really bad. I'm like, oh, where the fuck did this come from? Also, Doug Ford, come on, man. I keep saying that I hated everything you've done before, but you're doing all right. You were our goddamn Cuomo. Be our Cuomo, damn it. You're not being the Cuomo right now, and I don't like it very much. But yeah, so Invincible looks great. Super hyped for it. Should be good.
Yeah.
Amazon just killing it right now with these new superhero
They
properties.
really are. They really got their handle on it.
They sure do. And Invincible wasn't the only trailer for a new comic related show we got this week, because we also got a big behind the scenes for M.O.D.O.K as well.
Yeah, M.O.D.O.K. Now I didn't know it was going to be stop motion. I thought it was
Neither
going to
did
be
I.
like animated.
Same. I'm sure they may have mentioned that at some point, and
Hmm.
maybe that just went in one ear and out the other for us. But yeah, wow, what a unique and interesting look for it.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it's the robot chicken people handling the stop motion animation, and you can kind of tell.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can tell by like those little clips we saw of him talking with a super adaptoid and all that sort of stuff. Yeah,
Mhm.
you can tell it's absolutely the robot chicken people.
Patton Oswalt is the voice of M.O.D.O.K because he's the voice of everything now. Again, he was in The Boys as the Gills, and he was happy. And now he's going to be here being M.O.D.O.K. He's also co-writing it as well, and I think maybe co-producing too.
Yeah, and he's writing that comic book that's coming out for it and everything.
Yeah, yeah. They are all in on M.O.D.O.K, which is interesting because they were so not in on all the other Hulu projects that this was involved with.
Yeah, no, they're all kind of disregarding all of that, but I guess maybe there's something here.
I guess, which also, wait, weren't all these shows supposed to come together in something called The Offenders? Does that mean, was this always meant to be stop motion, or is that something they did late in the game?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Like, remember that, where it's like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
Tiger and Dazzler and,
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
it, Howard the Duck and Hitmonkey, and they were all going to come together in a show called The Offenders, and then, what is it, Marvel TV changed hands. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen anymore because I don't think any of those other shows are actually happening anymore.
Nope. Nope,
So,
nope, nope.
so yeah, no, I think this is just like what again, like it's like that Hellstrom show where it's kind of
Yeah,
like they had it like they were too far in production to stop, and so like, oh, we'll
yeah.
just put it out, and well, they recently, I think like the other day, Disney put all of the X-Men films, all
I
the X-Men
saw.
films under the Marvel Legacy banner. So maybe
I
that's
saw.
what this will come under as well. Same with like Hellstrom.
Yeah. That's true. You gotta wonder too if this ends up being a hit. Will they keep, renewing it and doing more with it, or the fact that this was, the end result of a previous regime? Will they be like, no, 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 you get one season and then it's done?
Again, it could be it could be really anything. Like I think this show, as well as it is, I think it's geared to a more adult audience. So I don't
Yes,
think it'll
yes,
be
I'll
like
agree.
one of those shows where it's like, oh, it's going to be transitioning over to Disney Plus or something.
I don't see
Um,
that.
but yeah, I could maybe see if it's popular, which it seems to be. Like a lot of people talking about it seem to really be up for it. So
Yeah.
if it is popular, I could see it getting another season. It could be something like Marvel's answer to like Harley Quinn.
Yeah, because it's like, hey, you have something in the hopper that, can be your answer. Especially because what I
Mhm.
love about it is that it just looks it looks unique. It doesn't
Yeah,
look
yeah.
like anything else.
Yeah, oh, not only that, it looks like there is actually some money behind it. And because, like, to do stop motion isn't just something you do,
Yeah.
it's not cheap and quick and everything, it's quite time consuming. So for them to go that route means they at least have some sort of faith in it.
Totally. The best joke about stop motion is from that Leica movie, Box Trolls, where literally at the end it's Richard Iowade, the guy from the IT crowd,
Hmm.
is sitting there and he's like, he's explaining what stop motion is, where it's like, hey, you take a little character and then you take a picture and then you do it again and again and you do it a million more times until you have a single second of film. And they're like, who in their right mind would do that? You must really love what you do to do that, or be sick in the head. I don't know. And I just think that's the beautiful way to look at it, that, yeah, to do stop motion, you're either sick in the head or you really, really love it. And yeah, we got quite a few scenes of the show and everything, and Patton Oswalt talking it up and everything. And yeah, I'm definitely excited for this now.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Yeah, looking forward. I'm more looking forward to it now than I was before when I thought it was just going to be like some animated show they've just thrown out.
Yeah, agreed. Most definitely agree. Oh, as Nostra Comics in the chat is telling us, that's Eric Fogle, the guy who did Celebrity Deathmatch. He's the other like big
Oh,
mind behind
nice.
this.
I remember Celebrity Deathmatch.
Same, and like Fogle's like written for a ton of different shows as well too. I think he's done like Family Guy and American Dad and everything. So like there's an actual comedic pedigree behind this one too.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, that's good. More stuff like this, more superhero stuff that goes against the grain.
Yeah.
Which is something I've always felt when people are like, man, the entertainment is just saturated with superhero stories. There's too many of them. I'm like, yeah, but if they're all different enough, though.
Yeah, there isn't really any that are like the same, the exact same. There's always something a little bit different about each of them.
I mean, superheroes and comic books are a big genre, and as we're seeing, you can do a lot of different stuff with it.
Absolutely.
What else we got going on here? So here's a story that, again, kind of dovetails when we talk about what we read this week, and because it also is connected to Invincible. Ryan Ottley, the artist that kind of made his name drawing all those Invincibles, he's going to be departing Spider-Man. In fact, issue 49 this week was his very last issue.
And that's a shame because I really loved his art on this book.
Yeah, it's funny. He came in with like all this fanfare and all this like, oh, he will be the definitive Spider-Man artist for this generation. Him and Spencer, they'll do all these great things. I mean, he didn't do a bad job, but I don't think he blew people's minds the way people wanted him to. Yeah, and like it's like, yeah, he's the closest thing we have to like a modern day superstar artist. I don't think he made any people buy Spider-Man any more than they would have or didn't.
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect example of like the paradigm shifting. And even in his last issue there, it's like, okay, so is he going to draw all of Spider-Man 49, all 90 pages? No, he does 18 and then he's fucking done. Okay.
And then it just goes somewhere else.
Which I'm glad you mentioned that, because that becomes the real story here. Now that he's done on Spider-Man, what is he going to do next? What is the next big thing? Are they going to move him on to another Marvel project, or is he going to go back and do another independent thing?
Yeah, no, I could see him maybe sticking around for Marvel for a couple of books, and then yeah, he's probably got some stories he wants to tell himself, I imagine.
Yeah. Goes back and does more Invincible. Just bringing that one out of mothballs, like, hey, we're doing more of this now. Yeah, it would. I guess a good question is, and the chat can answer this one too. What would we like to see him work on next? Now that he's drawn all these Spider-Man and Spider-Man related characters,
maybe is he exclusive to Marvel?
I don't know. I feel like I should probably know this.
Because I'd like to see him go over to DC and do something like a Flash book or something, Green Lantern or something.
Yeah, something that's bright and colorful anyway, something that he certainly thrives in. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. As someone said, him on Superman, yeah, that just kind of feels like a bit of a no-brainer, doesn't it? Him drawing something Superman related. Apparently he is working on a new Marvel project. It just hasn't been announced yet.
Okay, cool. Maybe it's related to like King in Black or something.
Yeah. Potentially. Potentially. So yeah, more power to Ottley there. Here's hoping the next thing he does is the next big definitive thing. As his Spider-Man just kind of wasn't.
Have we got an artist who's taking over for him on like book to book duties, or is it going to be like Patrick Gleason or something? Because they made a big deal about him coming over and doing Spider-Man,
yes, it is.
And he did like an issue, and then that was it.
Didn't do that much. Yes, it is going to be Gleason.
Okay, cool.
Then again, the next arc gets a little, or the next bit gets a little weird because what is it? We're switching off writing duties with Spencer and Rosenberg because we're doing those last remain 0.5 issues, starting with issue 50.
Yeah.
So I imagine we're going to get a couple fill-in artists there to help make all the 0.5s. We still don't know what Last Remains even is.
No, yeah, well, this whole we'll be talking about it when what we read this week, but yeah, this whole Sins Rising arc is like part 1 of Spencer's like Kindred story, and we're already at 50 issues.
Yeah, which has been going for this long. I know a lot of people. Well, again, yeah, we'll talk about it when we get there, but I know a lot of people thought it was a little anticlimactic. Now, next up, and again, hey, this all kind of makes sense because one of the things we do know about Last Remains is that Doctor Strange is going to be involved in potentially resurrecting a dead hero. And isn't it funny that Doctor Strange was announced this week to be co-starring in Spider-Man 3 in some meaningful way?
Yeah, he is quickly becoming the MCU's new Iron Man, and I'm all for that.
Yeah, again, it's funny, people joke all the time where it's like, oh, every Spider-Man movie is about him adopting a new male to be his father figure and everything, and how wrong it goes or how right it goes. And I'm like, yeah, but this is Doctor Strange, though. We haven't seen that yet.
No, we haven't. And we know from their past experiences, Steven doesn't particularly care about Spider-Man all that much.
No, they have a frosty relationship, so that would be interesting. You got to wonder too, because obviously at the end of Far From Home, I always get those mixed up, Spider-Man's identity got outed. So wouldn't it be interesting that his first port of call is this Magic Man? Hey man, can you spell this away? Can you magic this up?
Yeah, I would imagine that's like a logical step. Go to the guy who has access to a device that could potentially turn back time.
Yeah. Sounds also too very one more day or one moment in time where it's like, oh no, my identity got out there, what do I gotta do? Maybe not make a deal with the devil, maybe do some magic chicanery with Doctor Strange.
Also, I wonder if this I imagine because it's the MCU, it will tie into his movie, because his movie shoots just after this.
That's what a lot of people are already thinking with this Doctor Strange news, the Multiverse of Madness news, and the news that apparently Jamie Foxx is going to be on hand to be Electro in some variety. Are him and Peter going to be hopping through the multiverse? Are they going to be Rick and Mortying it, and they're going to, land in the Andrew Garfield universe? Like, what's the dealio?
Yeah, is it going to work out? So I like to see a thing where, like, to prove that Peter's not Spider-Man, they either get a Spider-Man from the multiverse to pretend, or something happens and Peter and Spider-Man split.
Yeah.
That'd be because they recently did that in that Nick Spencer story.
They sure did. Man, they should just go full Rick and Morty on it. It's like, oh, okay, Peter, I took you to a completely different Earth where they don't know you're Spider-Man, and Spider-Man just died, but we can only do this like 3 more times. Never call me again. Or something like that. I know some people are like getting real conspiracy theoried out there where it's like, oh, and this will be connected to the Spider-Verse, and this will be this, that, and everything, and that way, Venom can show up, and Morbius, and I'm like, guys, I think you're overthinking it.
Yeah. I think that, although in saying that you got to remember this movie is like co-produced by Sony, and Sony just like love shoving everything into these films.
Yes, is this also going to be Sony kind of big dicking it now and being like, ooh, well, we'll take our toy and go home. We want more control. We want to make choices too. We're the drummer in the band. We want to write songs too.
Yeah.
To which, again, I'm sure friggin' Marvel, Disney are like, oh yeah, because those other 2 great movies we made. Yeah, you definitely want to let the drummer start writing songs now. What about Morbius? Can Morbius
be the main villain?
no, no, Sony, we're not gonna do that, Sony. We want this movie to actually make money, Sony.
Yeah, and we can't get in touch with Jared Leto. He's busy out on his cult commune.
On this fucking sex island. Look, tell you what, Sony, you go in the corner and you play with Silk and, non-denominational Venom with the serial numbers filed off. And Jackpot, I guess, and all these other half-baked ideas, and you pretend you have a universe.
And we won't reference it, and you'll reference it, but we won't reference you referencing it. We'll probably tell you to take Michael Keaton out of trailers.
Yeah, really. Man, wouldn't it be fucking crazy if the, compromise that they eventually meet, Marvel and Disney, is like, okay, we get to keep Tom Holland and we get to keep making these movies. You can have Andrew Garfield back and we'll just say it's another universe in the Spider-Verse.
In saying that, this is like the perfect backdoor for that.
Yes.
Where it's like they go and it's like, oh, we're in the Sony universe and there's a Spider-Man here. He has the same costume as Tom Holland, but it's Andrew Garfield or someone, Tobey Maguire. Although I don't think either of them are coming back. At least I don't think Andrew Garfield was coming back after those Sony emails leaked and he basically just didn't want to do the role at all or anything.
Wont, wont, which is the funniest thing when I see clickbait articles where it's like, oh, is he coming back? Could he be doing the thing? No, because he seemed really unhappy.
Yeah, I mean, he could come back if it was like, oh, he gets to work with Marvel Studios and these people who weren't behind the Amazing Spider-Man films could come back at that, but at the same time, probably not.
I mean, hey, if you get a big enough payday.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, it would be fine if him and Maguire came back, and I know everyone's made that joke. If they showed up for a second in Spider-Verse 2 and they were like two Spider-Man, to be like, yeah, these are also universes in the bigger Spider-Verse. Again, don't make the whole movie about them, but they can come back for little cameos.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fine. No one would be mad at that.
No.
Just like no one would be mad at
Spider-Man fans, they will be mad at it.
As we have noticed time and time again, Spider-Man fans are never pleased with anything.
No.
It's the damnedest, isn't it? It's like, guys, everything is literally geared towards you, and you get more than anybody, and you're still unhappy.
Yep.
You're all fucking Harry Potter's adopted brother there, but there was 99 Spider-Man last time.
Now there's only 98.
Yeah, really. Dudley, goddammit. You're all fucking Dudley. And look, I'll freely admit I've been Dudley sometimes too. What do you mean Flash Thompson is still dead? Yes, I know Venom is excellent, but still. He shouldn't be dead. All right, moving on from there, I guess we can finally talk about what we've been alluding to. But yeah, The Boys ended its season 2 this week, and boy, what a humdinger of a finale.
Oh, it was fantastic.
The further this show goes on, and the more it kind of does its own thing, and forges its own path, the better it's really gotten, to where characters are deeper, more complicated, and more three-dimensional than they actually were in the source material. It's kind of shocking.
Yeah, when we talked about the first season, when that ended, I think we both said that it was like it does everything better than the comic. Like, it does the edginess better. Like, yes. It's not edgy for the sake of edgy. It uses that to inform on the characters and build them, and it does a fantastic job in this season, just taking that one step further.
It's a spice, not a meal. And then sometimes they, even when it does its own thing, it'll, take a left turn and actually come back and do a thing from the comic, like the Love Sausage, where you're like, holy shit, they actually did the thing. And then here, especially in the final episode, they do the famous Stormfront beatdown from the comic, but they rewrite it and kind of remix it in a way that's really fucking awesome.
It's really awesome. It's really funny as well.
It is. Frenchie, who gets the line of the episode, girls really do get it done, as they beat the shit out of a Nazi. And it's so fucking dope. Even what they do with Homelander, because, Homelander in the comic is just like, I'm fucking crazy and evil because, and, never really deeper or more interesting than that. But it's like, here they give him a kid, which honestly makes him creepier and scarier when he's trying to, be a good dad and everything. You're like, but you're not that thing. You're just, acting. it's really fucked up. And then to even turn it up another dial and be like, okay, so like all these evil Supermen and everything are basically the same, but to have him be like, no, I want to rule the world and I want to kill people because I'm a psychopath, but also I really need the love and attention though.
Yeah, the one thing that's the through line I think for his character is that the love and attention, and he obviously lost most of that when Sitwell died, and he tried to get that back with having that guy that can transform shape changer into her and everything. Lost that, and
Tried to have it with Stormfront.
Yep, all the people are going against him now because of the people finding out that they're all fake superheroes, basically test tube babies.
Yeah, it's just really compelling.
Yeah, and Anthony Starr does just a fantastic job of playing this like this detached like weirdo.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, everyone in the show is good, but I think this is like his star-making turn. This will get him his next 10 jobs.
Yeah, I've loved the guy ever since I saw him on Banshee, but yeah, this is like the one that people I think will reference the most as like, look how good an actor this guy is.
Because he can be scary, he can be pathetic, he can be funny, he can really do it all.
And he can do all of those in like a scene.
Yes, and the fact that he can like go back and forth to be like, hey, I'm Christopher Reeve Superman, America, apple pie, and then being like, I'm fucking crazy Injustice Superman now. And then it all makes sense within like the same person.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's just so much else to really like about this finale where they bring it all together. Oh, the whole like cult of Scientology thing, again, another new angle they put in for the show that works really well and is really funny. And it's like, someone on the writing team clearly saw Going Clear.
Yeah, and it gives something for Deep to do. Deep, who is just an idiot of just an absolute idiot. I love how like
it's an anti-redemption arc, and I like that.
Yeah. You don't ever feel like he was going to get redeemed. Like at the end of the season 1, you think like, oh, maybe he will redeem himself a little bit. But here it's like, no, he's too stupid to do that.
He's too stupid and still a sex offender. And yes, he can be a deeper, more interesting sex offender, but he still fucking sucks, though. So that he gets played by the fucking cult of Scientology and everything else. Even the words they use, like, he has a toxic personality and we cannot talk to him anymore.
Yeah, all of that stuff was is like out of that Going Clear documentary. Yes. Where it's like, these are all things that like Scientologists would tell people.
And instead of drinking the Kool-Aid like the Jim Jonestown cult, they drink Fresca.
Fresca, yeah.
Which, man, what is it? The dude from Breaking Bad gets the best line. Oh, no, awful stuff.
Yeah. I ain't drinking that.
I ain't drinking that. Awful stuff, which is hilarious because when I watched that, the person who I watched the show with was also drinking Fresca at the time. And I'm like, it's awful stuff. Man, I wonder how the Fresca company feels about that, where it's like, it's the best, worst product placement ever. Where it's like it gets to be in everything, but also
it's the drink of choice for crazy cult members.
For crazy cult members. The chat reminds me too. The stuff they do with Homelander's kid / Butcher's adopted kid now is truly amazing, because that character's not a character in the comic. No. That character is, again, a joke that they play for one scene and then never do they do anything else with it. But the fact that they've come so far with it now to be like, hey, so the problem with this world is that the heroes all suck because they're either, completely self-centered or, total psychopaths. But what if there was, someone here with Superman level powers? What if they grew up good and right? And, what if this world could actually have a superhero like Superman who wasn't a total dillhole?
Yeah, again, it's like they're making him like the opposite of Homelander, where we see Homelander raised by like a lab, whereas this kid is raised by like a mother who loves him and wants to teach him how to be good and everything, and not use his powers, but how to be good and everything.
Yeah. it's again, it's very interesting and very unique to this show, and it's funny. It's more hopeful than Garth Ennis's original, because Garth Ennis's original book is that there are no heroes, everything is shitty and horrible, and the only people who can kind of make a difference are total bastards like Billy Butcher and everything. And even then, that's not good, because they just as soon kill you as help you. But this show is like, no, between, Starlight kind of breaking away and Maeve kind of doing her own thing, this world could actually have real heroes.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how they're going to go into third season, which I would have to imagine they have to do like maybe a time skip. Because the ending of this series, like if the series didn't get picked up for a third season, that could be the ending.
Yes, it very well could have. In fact, I am certain that they wrote this thinking like they're not going to renew us for a third season.
Yeah, but I guess they did, and a spin-off.
And a spin-off too. In fact, I wonder, obviously because the Seven has been depleted so thoroughly now, I wonder if, we'll get another infusion of new characters, because Stormfront was new. We got a couple other new characters who are only really here for jokes. I wonder if maybe they'll start doing some more Marvel-centric heroes, where it's like, oh, here's Tech Knight, who's kind of like our Iron Man pastiche or something like that. Or here's the G-Men, who are kind of like our X-Men pastiche.
Yeah, no, well, we've had allusions to Tech Knight, so I imagine he's going to be coming up in the third season. I know in the third season also they're going back into the past, because we've got Soldier Boy appearing as well. Nice. Who's played by the Supernatural guy.
Oh shit, for real?
Yeah, they cast him just during season 2.
Oh, that's fun casting. Yeah, there's a lot of places they could go. Also, in a weird way, the boy status quo at the end of season 2 is closer to where it is in the comic when it begins, where it's like, yeah, they're an extra governmental organization now put together to police supervillain activity.
Yeah, again, it feels like the show was like a mixture of like those first couple of issues of first couple of volumes of the book plus a prequel.
Yeah.
Because at the end, even like Billy's wearing his like kind of classic costume, quote unquote.
Yeah, he stopped wearing the ugly Hawaiian shirt. I wonder too. Maybe we'll actually get to see them leave America, because the boys' book was all over the place. It wasn't always just in one place. So it would be interesting to see them tackle. What does superhero culture look like around the world, and how does Vought kind of go everywhere?
Yeah, like go deal with like heroes in like Europe or something. Like Vaught's Europe division. Yes, thank you.
That'd be fun. Also, love the name too. But yeah, I mean, Boys season 2. I mean, what else is there to say? I feel like we could talk about this for a long time, because there's just like a lot of really good shit here.
Yeah, I love all the changes they did to Stormfront. Because Stormfront obviously in the comic is a male character who is like extremely on the nose a Nazi.
Oh, unabashedly, like the first time you meet him, it's like, here's Stormfront, they're a Nazi. I think Ennis makes a joke early on where it's like, yes, this guy is such a Nazi, he jerks off to Holocaust documentaries.
Here they're a little bit more overt with it, but
they are.
It's very very relevant as well.
Yes, there's something here about like, the rebranding of evil, where it's like Stormfront was always evil, but she just, rebranded and changed, and she learned the right words to say, and she learned, the right people to cozy up to and how to use the internet. But at the end of the day, her shittiness never changed. And again, bring it back to the cult of Scientology, where it's like, yes, they were the ones who mastered the art of the image change.
Well, even then there's hints that she was part of that cult as well, and there's hints that they like fostered her, like shaped her into what she became.
Yeah, it's a really, really interesting thing. And again, having an overt Nazi be the villain of your show in 2020, I think was very cathartic and exactly what people needed, to just see a Nazi get the shit kicked out of her.
Yeah, that was great. Another thing with them is like, obviously we got Homelander and Stormfront are a couple, but I also like that Homelander, he was too stupid to realize that she was a Nazi, even though she's saying all this stuff to like his son about how, our color of the skin scares people, and
she literally uses the term white genocide.
Yeah. I did like in that scene though, he's got this look on his face of like, what the fuck is she talking about?
It's like, that's the one time where he's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm like,
alarm bells are going off.
I think she might be crazier than me. Uh-oh. I'm a piece of shit, but even I know. Man, the stuff with Maeve was really interesting too. And again, kind of, I think, doing better something they did in the comics, because, you know, Garth Ennis is a big fan of the evil bisexual trope that he uses in everything. He used it in Punisher. He used it in The Boys. Homelander was, in fact, an evil bisexual in the comics. So to kind of update it here and to have her kind of forced into this coming out story, I thought was really something kind of cool.
Yeah, and I like that they tackled like corporate feminism and like this manufactured like wokeness.
Yes.
I thought that was really good.
Yes, in a way that actually made sense, and in a way where it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I can get behind this, where it's like, you know, doing the right thing is good, but when you do it, you know, in a phony, fake way, people can tell. And, you know, it's like you're not actually making things better at that point, and you're hurting people like Maeve, where it's like, I wasn't ready to come out.
No, yeah.
And now you're forcing me to. Yeah, it's good shit. It's good shit. And again, stuff that was not in the comic, all stuff that they actually made up for the show.
Yeah, again, it's all stuff that's like, I guess you could say is like set up in the comic, or like there's a base for it, but it never went anywhere in the comic, and they've just taken that and expanded on it.
It's thematically relevant is what I would say. We're not doing the book, you know, what is it, beat for beat, but thematically we're doing the book.
Yeah.
Like, if Ennis wrote The Boys today, he would probably do something like this.
Yeah, well, he is writing The Boys today.
He's writing The Boys today because, again, he's like, oh, the wife should live? Oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll go back and write something with that and actually make her a real character. Which I think that's some shit, too, where it's like, look, even Ennis, the writer of the book, can be like, no, the show did something better. In fact, I want to go back and write something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Boys Season 2, good stuff. Man, it felt like it was over too soon, wasn't it? Where it's like, oh man, I wish I could keep watching this.
It's weird. It was over too soon, but like the show came out on a weekly basis, whereas like it would have been over even sooner if it had been out all at once, like the first season was. But yeah, it just is so weird, and it apparently worked really well for them doing this weekly schedule, because the show ended up like topping Netflix stuff.
I know, which is crazy to think. And also where it's like, you know, I think to myself in this weird quarantine time that we're in, where it's like, no, I need The Boys to come out, you know, Thursday night, Friday morning, or else I won't know what fucking day it is anymore.
Yeah, really.
Please don't take my boys away from me. I need it to like gauge time now.
Yeah, no, well that's one thing about Amazon Prime. I think we're definitely going to get more seasons of well, I know we're getting season 3 and whatnot, but beyond that, we're going to get more. They're not Netflix. They don't just cancel a show after season 3.
No, they don't. Which, yeah, man, fucking, you know, Netflix had another bloodletting where it's like, hey, you like Glow, it's gone. Hey, you like these other shows, gone.
Yep, and Glow was meant to get a 4th and final season, and they just cancelled it outright.
I know it was. In fact, fucking Awesome Kong left AEW to go film some stuff from that, so a bunch of fans were missed out on it. Now they're not even going to do it. I'm like, oh, shit.
No, that sucks.
Awesome Kong needs to have that feud with Nyla so she can pass the torch of being like the big destroyer of worlds, woman heel, and now we never got that. And now, you know, Awesome Kong lost a couple more years, which is always a shame when you're an old wrestler and your body's breaking down after years of abuse. Oh, well, it is what it is. But yeah, here's hoping, too, that, you know, Amazon will be more emboldened now to roll the dice on more interesting comic book adaptations.
Yeah, well, that seems to be like their thing. They've got like this. They've got the Invincible coming out. They've done like I'm pretty sure they did like a Walking Dead spin-off. Because I've seen I've seen that advertised. It might have just been something that came to Amazon Prime, because there was like some Walking Dead spin-off on like the front page when I loaded it up the other day. I'm not gonna watch it because it's fucking Walking Dead, but.
Not Fear the Walking Dead, but another one?
No, yeah, it's like another... It's about, like, kids.
Oh.
I am pretty sure I heard about it, and I didn't think it went anywhere, but yeah, it's about, like children or something.
Was Utopia based on a comic, or is that just a comic in the show?
It's a comic in the show, but I think it's based on a comic or a book.
Right, okay, that makes sense. Again, I keep saying hack slash. Come on, Amazon, do it. Do hack slash. It almost became a show and then didn't, so clearly there's like, a fan following behind it. Same with Six Gun from Colin Bunn. Come on, do some fun Western shit.
Go get scalped.
Yeah, oh my, yes, oh my God, for the love of God, do Scalp. Do you want a great new, like, crime drama? Do that. Man, that's a show right there. We need to write down a bunch of things that would be perfect for Amazon.
And then just harass them until they do it.
For real. Tommy Gun Wizards. That also
Yes.
seems like that would be good for Amazon.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff that I think would be perfect for it. What is it? Get him to the chapel, all those other things. Ooh, Spencer and Locke. There you go. It's kind of like Happy. Only it's a film noir thing with Calvin and Hobbes. It'd be great. It'd be great. Wait, isn't Lumberjanes coming there too? Didn't they get the rights to Lumberjanes, or am I thinking of Netflix?
I think HBO Max got that. Got
Right.
an animated series.
See, that's at the point we're at now. The superhero arms race. We've done all the big two, all the big capes and everything. Now it's an arms race to try and get, some of the smaller indie stuff.
Yeah, it's an indie man's world out there now.
Man, I wish I wrote an indie comic. Yeah, Southern Bastards. Yeah, that would be another excellent one. You're right. Basically, anything Aaron has written would be perfect for Amazon. Any of his side work. Alrighty then. I guess with that out of the way, we can talk about what we read this week, and it was a fairly sizable week.
Oh boy, was it ever! I'm still going.
Yeah. Let's just start with X of Swords, because that's 3 goddamn books.
Yeah, we had Wolverine, Marauders, and X-Force.
Yeah, and because X-Force and Wolverine are written by the same guy, Benjamin Percy, they were actually allowed to tell one story, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, they could have just really combined it into one issue.
Yeah, but we need 22.
Yeah, for some reason.
For some reason, we need 22. But yeah, it's Wolverine on a quest to find the Muramasa sword, which I like. What is it? Percy doesn't even try to be like, oh, does he get all the missing pieces together? No, because they've been like broken, and like Dawkins has one in his arm, and then they turn some to bullets and everything. Fuck it, he's getting a new one.
Yeah. No, we're gonna set up a story where Muramasa is kidnapped by demon hand members, taken to hell, and forced to make weapons for them, and those 2 weapons end up being Muramasa blades.
Yes, which is very fitting because a lot of fans are like, well, wait, but in the little prophecy that Polaris read, you make it sound like both sides need the Muramasa blade, but there's only one. No, there was 2.
Again, yeah, when it was first mentioned, the Muramasa blade was mentioned on both sides, so I was wondering how that was going to play out, and we got an answer here, and it was a pretty good answer.
Yeah, pretty good answer. Yeah, it was made as wedding gifts for the beast. What did he call it? His
his red left and right hands.
Which is a fun little Wolverine reference because the Red Right Hand was also the name of like the group of Wolverine survivors who actually conspired to send him to hell back in the Aaron era.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a very nice touch, and I'm like, some people aren't even going to get that that's a reference. But that was fun. We're also introduced to Wolverine's new arch nemesis and the opponent that he's going to be fighting in the upcoming Otherworld tournament, and that is Solemn.
Solemn, a man whose skin is made of adamantium.
Yes, you can touch it if you want, Wolverine, because I'm also a giant perv on top of everything else.
Yeah, I like Solemn. I think he's a cool character. I like that he seems to take joy in this X of Swords quest, and he's happy he's going to be fighting in the Cell games.
It really is. It's totally fucking anime, 100%. It like Solemn is like the ultimate like writing exercise where it's like, okay, make a dark mirror to Wolverine. Well, we already did that. It's Sabretooth. Okay, no, like actually invert him 100%. Okay, so Wolverine is sour and doesn't take a lot of fun in what he's doing, so Solemn is happy and loves what he does.
Yep, and instead of an adamantium skeleton, he has adamantium skin.
Boom. That's a character, which is, hey, that's lucky because Muramasa blade is one of the only things that can actually cut through adamantium, and I like that Solemn didn't know that.
No, yeah, he was very surprised that happened.
And also, too, how they set him up where it's like, yes, this is the fight everyone's going to be looking forward to. The unkillable champion from Krakoa versus the undefeated champion from Eriko. They keep saying that he's undefeated even amongst the other horsemen. And the horsemen hate his guts is the funny thing.
Yeah, well, they hate his guts because he killed War's husband.
Yes, and they don't 100% know how or why that happened. They say that maybe it was some kind of like, tryst gone wrong.
A
Maybe
duel
he
or
did it.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he just did it to piss War off so she'd open up the gate so he could have more people to go kill. No one's really certain.
No, no. So I imagine we'll find out throughout this series. We'll also find out how Wolverine got the blade at the end, because at the end of the issue, Wolverine is kind of left in the pits of hell, and Solomon agrees to help him if he'll trade something for the sword, and we don't know what that thing is he traded.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Wolverine apparently felt quite bad about it. It's interesting because, like, obviously we've seen that Solomon has no love for the Horsemen and vice versa. Wouldn't it be interesting if he turncoated on his own team?
That'd be pretty. I keep thinking that might happen because, yeah, it's set up that he's willing to fight and everything because he just loves fighting, but he doesn't like the Horsemen.
He's such a fucking anime character. I fight. Why? To find the answer. To what? I'll keep fighting to find that answer.
He's Goku. He's Goku.
He's literally goddamn Goku, but a bad guy, not just a bad father. Oh man, that's some funny shit. Now, apparently Benjamin Percy said the next part of this story where they actually fight, because this month is all just them getting the swords. Next month will be them actually fighting.
Yep.
He said next month will also be one story told over 2 issues.
Oh, nice.
Because Wolverine's a big special boy, and clearly because I think Solomon is gonna fucking stick around after this.
Yeah.
He gets 2 issues to tell one story.
Yeah.
Also, Solomon sets up an interesting thing too, because it's X of Swords, so that's 10 combatants on each side. We've got the 4 horsemen, plus the summoner, plus Genesis, Apocalypse's wife, which means we actually have like 4 ringers they haven't announced yet.
Yeah, I know. Well, just going off like those covers that we saw, there's that big crocodile guy.
Right.
There's some huge crocodile creature. There's Annihilation, which is the person who killed Genesis.
Right, which is almost certainly Genesis in disguise.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know who the other 2 could be.
Well, Solomon counts 2, so it's really only 3. It's only 3 extra characters, which I know too. Another thing of this series is we keep getting insight on all the other places in Otherworld. A lot of the time they have no fucking bearing on the story, but hey, here we wrote this shit about Otherworld, so here you go.
Yeah, just backstory, filling it in.
Yeah, I do love that it's like, oh yeah, there's a black market dimension too. Oh yeah, and who runs the black market dimension? Mad Jim Jasper's like a weird fucking 40s Marvel character that Hickman remembers.
Yeah, of course.
And I swear Hickman only remembers it because Rob from Comics Explained is a big fan of it and won't shut up about Mad Jim Jasper, so I'm sure Hickman heard about it from him, and it's like, oh, I'm going to put him in the story. So really, Matt, you and I need to not shut up about certain characters and hope that comic creators watch and listen so, our dreams can come true. So Headhunter, right?
Headhunter.
Someone in the chat said the White Sword. Yeah, the White Sword who can revive the dead, who also doesn't seem to be a horseman, but who might also be another Apocalypse kid. So yeah, I guess he's definitely one. So that leaves like two ringers we don't know about yet.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
And the other one we had was a very interesting Storm-centric book in Marauders.
One that probably will have a lot of bearing on what happens after that I don't think a lot of people realize.
No. Like Storm, this is like a story I love in terms of like morality plays. This character made all the wrong choices, but like for a good reason. And so did the people she were fighting. This is like, oh, you're all making excellent points here, and that's the problem. So it's like Storm, who's wearing white. I love that she's wearing white again.
Yeah, I like her white costume.
It's a cool look. She's got to go to Wakanda to get an ancient blade called the Skybreaker, which we discover is the first blade ever forged with vibranium.
Yeah, and it's only a blade that only the King of Wakanda can wield and touch.
Yeah. If not, all the superstitious people will like have a friggin' uprising there. Basically, it's a religious artifact. I likened it to the Shroud of Turin, where it's like, hey, can I have the Shroud of Turin for a minute? No.
No.
It's like, come on, I just want to blow my nose with the Shroud of Tyrion. Come on, I just want to strangle my enemies with it. Come on, this shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, it's this is really just an issue where Storm and Shuri talk out their issues, and like again, no one is really right and no one is really wrong, and they get some like good fucking jabs in at another and how like their countries are being run.
Oh yeah, yeah. Both are like right and both are wrong at the same time.
Yeah, where she's like, "Hey, if I can just have that sword, it would be great. I can probably save the world." And she's like, "Yeah, but it might lead to an uprising here in Wakanda. We have those a lot. You would know if you were still married to my brother and you were here. Also, is this not your fault that this tournament is happening because you guys didn't watch Apocalypse close enough?"
Yeah. Also, this Krakoa's been kind of just like going about its own business and like taking whatever it wants. And like, how do we know this isn't just some ploy on Krakoa's part to get something that they could leverage Wakanda into a treaty deal?
Yeah, you guys have kind of been bullying other nations, and like things have been rough between us because Wakanda was one of the few nations to not go along with the mutants deal. But then you also find it's like, but wait, isn't Wakanda also pressuring other African nations to not get involved with Krakoa? Yes, we are. But also shut up. And eventually Storm's like, well, time's a tick and I only got 3 days. So she like actively goes to steal Skybreaker and it all just unravels from there.
It all unravels from there. And I like that she knew where it was kept and everything about it because she was married to T'Challa and he showed her around the sacred temple where it and I imagine every other weapon is kept.
Her reasoning, is so great. Where it's like, look, if he didn't want me to steal him when it was important, he wouldn't have shown me. And I'm like, geez, geez, Aurora, let me guess, you also kept his Netflix password too when you broke up. Look, if he didn't want me to keep his Wakandan Netflix password, he would have changed it. And then she ends up having to break out, and her and like Black Panther have this thing, and you think they're gonna fight, but he's like, look, for the woman I love, for the marriage we had, I'm gonna let you go because you're probably right, but also like Krakoa and Wakanda are not friends anymore.
Yeah, at the end he ends up destroying the gate that they planted there, and if any mutant or any diplomat from Krakoa wants to come, they will come if Wakanda chooses so.
Yes, only if I ask. And I'm like, whoa, so like that might even be setting up the next event, Krakoa versus Wakanda.
It kind of seems like it's like a no-brainer. Like you've got these two nations that are very similar,
super advanced,
and only one can inhabit the world at any one point. So
And then you got the Kree-Skrull alliance, which same deal, where it's like, but we want to be a new superpower now. Yeah, but Krakoa, we're a superpower, though. Well, I guess we're going to have to fight that. We can't have all these superpowers at once. That's how, like, you freaking start World War I and everything. And, like, this story is like a tragedy, and I think a lot of people took away the wrong lesson. Like, I didn't like this book because it made me feel bad. It's supposed to make you feel bad.
It's supposed. Storm says at the beginning, this journey I'm about to go on is probably going to end in heartbreak.
Yeah, it's a tragedy. It's a Shakespearean tragedy. It's everyone acting very much in character, doing what they think is right, even though it kills them and their own happiness.
Absolutely.
And it ties into the bigger theme that Hickman is writing too, where it's like, what would you be willing to sacrifice to build the best nation ever? How much of yourself would you be willing to sacrifice for nationalism? And in fact, that's even reflected in Wolverine's story too, where he's like, hey, Muramasa, why are you working for these ninjas? Oh, because they threatened to destroy my hometown. Oh, why are you here, Wolverine? Well, I wanted no part of the war, but everyone else was doing it, so I felt as a mutant I had to do it. So literally no one is doing what they want to do, but, nationalism and pride is forcing them to.
Again, putting that X-Men hat on, this is just Xavier messing with all their fucking minds because he's has access to all of their backups and whatnot. And we know he's not the cleanest boy now.
No, he might look like Mr. Clean, but he's not. But yeah, so X of Swords, interesting, compelling stuff.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what the next 5 issues will be like.
Yes, it's hitting the ground running. What else did you want to talk about, Matt?
Well, we had the finale of Joker War this week.
That's right, Batman number 100. See, it always throws me off because these come out on frickin' Tuesday now.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. Though it gives me time to finish all my DC books before I move on to my Marvel stuff.
Yeah, see, I probably should do that, but I'm friggin' lazy, so I just upload the podcast for Wednesday and then read the one book, and then I'm done. Actually, hey, you get started talking about Batman 100. I have to actually go to the bathroom. I always have to do this, but I'm just like, well, this is going to be really uncomfortable, and I don't want to be sitting here wincing while Matt is trying to talk. So I'll be right back.
No worries. So Batman issue 100, ending of Joker War. Pretty good ending. I thought it was pretty fantastic of a sort of capstone to James Tynion's first story arc. Sets up some big stuff for what's coming up next year, since the back end of the issue is just all teasers, I guess, for 2021. So yeah, Joker Batman fight in Ace Chemicals, and Joker is captured by Harley Quinn, has his eyes shot out, so we get an eyeless Joker now. And Batman's given a choice. Does he let Joker die, or does he let Harley die? And he's gonna make the choice, and he chooses to let Joker die. But of course, being a Batman book and because it sells very well, Joker doesn't die, and he ends up surviving somehow. It's not really made clear how. And we're left with an eyeless Joker who's, I guess, going to be making a big finale. He mentions he's going to be setting up a giant finale since Gotham is changed now, thanks to what Batman has done and what Bruce Wayne has done with the Wayne Foundation. So yeah, I imagine he's going to become something else, maybe. As Space Lord says in the chat, Ghostmaker does look very awesome, makes an appearance here at the end. Again, one of those stories teased for 2021. Again, it's referenced as like a partner to Bruce when they were training, I guess under Ra's al Ghul, or someone. They trained with them when Bruce was training to be Batman, so that's quite interesting. And it looks like they have like a base set up in Gotham, and it's going to sort of be like, I guess, like a new Nightfall story, because they say, Ghostmaker says that they're going to test Gotham and see which protector Gotham wants. So I imagine it's going to be sort of like a new version of Nightfall by the sounds of it, a new Jean-Paul Valley, if you will. But yeah, really cool issue. And what did the chat think of the issue if you read the book? I'll go to the chat for what they thought of the issue. Let's refresh the chat. I just forgot to mention, we also saw Nightwing return this issue, which was really fun to see, and kind of makes sense with what we'll talk about in Justice League as well, when it's mentioned his stuff in that issue is mentioned here. Yeah, Nightwing coming back was pretty cool. Get to see him play with Punchline a little bit, play around with her before the team get involved. Yes, I'm glad Nightwing is back as well. He's a very, very good character. I'm glad he's back. I can't remember does he have an issue coming out very soon, like his solo series? I haven't been reading his solo series, so I don't know if he's got an issue coming out this coming week or not, but I imagine that's probably going to be dealing with a lot of the fallout from this whole series. Yeah, no, the Punchline one shot should be pretty interesting, especially given that she kind of Me Too'd Joker there in the end there, where it was all, I don't think a lot of people realize this, she Me Too'd Joker, but it was all part of her plan to do that, to sort of pin the blame on Joker, since then it causes a whole uprising in the case against her. So I imagine she will be using that to escape or something. And Joel's back.
Yes, I am. What I missed? Where are you at now?
Well, I talked about the whole issue and just went to the chat, but you give me your thoughts on the issue.
I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would, and honestly, it all comes down to that finale. Because again, as Tynion has mentioned many times, even within this story, like, you've seen the Joker fight Batman before, you know where this usually goes. but the extra dimension of Harley and her forcing Batman to make a choice that he doesn't normally make, and that is like, hey, you can either kill the Joker or I will die, a person who has helped you every step of the way. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, he's given that impossible choice, and he chooses to let Joker die. He just like walks away.
Kind of, sort of, as he
Yeah.
mentions later, where it's like, look, I know the Joker better than I know myself sometimes, and I knew he was going to get out of it, because he always gets out of it.
Yeah. Batman's well aware the Joker wouldn't just let himself die.
I think the harsher thing is that he left Alfred's zombified corpse behind. I think that's actually more of a thing of him, being able to let go of the... Yeah, I think that was more of a thing than actually letting the Joker... hilariously, this scene is very similar to a scene that happened in Spider-Man this week, and I like this scene much better.
Yeah, I do as well.
Also, too, there's some rather interesting repercussions, I think, from this story. There is no chief of Gotham Police now. Harvey quits in protest.
So yeah, I guess we're gonna get maybe a new character.
That would be fun. What is it? Barbara basically becomes Oracle again for a little bit.
Oh no, she does. I think they've like confirmed she's becoming Oracle again.
Interesting. Which does that mean that either Cassandra or Stephanie will get a turn at being Batgirl, or will the Batgirl book just become the Oracle book now?
Well, technically, Cassandra did become Batgirl again in that Joker Warzone special. So maybe that could be them sort of saying like, okay, we'll shift Barbara over to Oracle, and Cassandra will become Batgirl again.
It would be fun if they just had a book that's literally called Batgirls, and it's just all of them.
That'd be cool, yeah.
Form like a team book. Oracle is their leader person in the chair, and then like maybe every arc we get to try someone different in there. That'd be fun. Now there was actually a lot of post stuff too in this, which is interesting.
Yeah, again, more setting up stuff for 2021 and what's coming down the pipeline.
Yeah, we get to see Ghostmaker, the very much touted new character who looks so freaking anime. He looks more anime than the designer did. He
really does. I really like his costume as well. It's a pretty cool costume. But yeah, no, what the character reveals is quite interesting, since he or she reveals that they trained with Bruce when he was becoming Batman.
And they already know Bruce is Batman, and they're saying, hey, the city lost a lot of faith in you for your mishandling of the Joker War crisis, so like, hey, maybe I should come to town and give people a choice in who they want to be their new hero.
Now this is really interesting, because they come into town and we don't have a new commissioner. What if the new character, I imagine they're going to be a new character introduced to become the acting commissioner. What if that person is Ghostmaker?
That would be
like
fun.
Ghostmaker's secret identity.
That could be very interesting. Also, too, maybe they'll be like canonizing that like ninja guy from the cartoon show.
Oh yeah.
Who was like Bruce's kind of rival. And again, I know Tynan's a fan of the cartoon, so wouldn't it be funny if they canonized that character?
That would be cool, yeah.
Also, too, where the fuck was I going with this? But much like how we've seen Joker versus, Batman for their final battle, we've seen other heroes shows up in Gotham and's like, ooh, I'm the new hot shit now. And normally that would bug me, but as Tynan has shown, he finds new and interesting directions for those types of stories, so I'll be interested to see what he does with a character like Ghostmaker.
Yeah, as again, while you're away, I compared it to like, this could be like a newer version of like Nightfall.
Yeah.
Whereas like this character's like a new like Jean-Paul Valley, and it's like a new spin on that.
Remember Gotham Knight became canon and then she disappeared?
Oh yeah. Yeah, in Tomasi's run.
Yeah. And like that character's still running around, but it's like, nah. That's why we have the next event in a couple years when all these wannabe Batmans all come and have to fight each other. We also got the final reveal of Clown Hunter. It's to think that they took this long to actually explain what his deal was and what even his name was.
Yeah, so he's a kid named Bao Fen.
Yeah,
and
Vietnamese kid.
He lives in the Narrows, and his parents were killed by the Joker 5 years ago. And which kind of is partly the reason why he took up arms, but also because it was revealed when Batman was fighting in that theater when against all the reanimated corpses, two of those corpses were his parents. So Batman
Oops.
technically killed his parents
Again, which explains his anger and why he's lost faith in Batman. It's interesting to have a character like this who is a jilted Batman fan. Like, obviously, Tim Drake was a Batman fan. Jason Todd was kind of like a wayward kid, but to kind of fuse those two characters together and have, a kid that basically Batman wants to try and win back their love and affection.
Again, it feels like Tynan, much like how Punchline is his take on this, the whole like Joker society people. This is his take on those Batman fans that you see every now. Yeah, the Snyder fans.
That's really wow, Matt. I didn't even think of that. Like that connection.
It's very obvious.
Wow, you're absolutely right. Holy shit. Huh. Wow. That's really fucking clever, actually. And I like Clown Hunter, what little we've seen of him, and I like Batman trying to help him, being like, look, I came here to put the fear of God into you. I'm not gonna do it. Go talk to Leslie Tompkins. She helped me a lot when I was your age.
I also like the character as well. He's a community character as well, because as we saw in that Warzone issue, like the community rallied behind him and loved what he was doing, so they're not going to like give up on him and like turn him into the cops or anything. They're going to help him if anything.
And a lot of people are quick to say like, oh, is Bo going to be the new Robin? And I'm like, well, people said that about Bluebird and they said that about Signal, and that didn't happen. So I don't think this is going to happen. What would be fun though is if Ghostmaker comes to town and he's like, hey kid, I love that you kill people. Do you want to be my Robin?
Yeah, kind of like picks up where Bruce failed a little bit.
Yeah, that would be interesting, because then you would have like Batman and Ghostmaker fighting over the soul of this kid. And it's like, I hate you, Batman. Ghostmaker lets me stay up to midnight and eat candy. He has a gun, probably.
He's got gun swords.
He got gun swords. He sure do. he buys me lots of Gunplas to play with. Do you do that, Bruce? And I was like, no, it's true. He doesn't.
He buys the shitty Chinese knockoffs.
What a monster Batman is. Also, too, Batman having to carry on now with no money and no resources and no cave and no Alfred.
I'm so glad he didn't get his money back. Because that was like a thing that was in that Warzone thing where Luke Fox got all that, and again setting him up to be John Ridley's Batman and everything. And Bruce is just kind of like left there. He's left with like whatever's in the cave and like a tattered bat suit, and he's just got to make do.
It'll be so funny to see Batman like sleeping around on people's couches. And I think thanks Clark for letting me stay here. I lost everything. Hey Nightwing, can I come sit on your couch? Nightwing's like, I don't even know where I live anymore. I was Rick.
They did that in that what was that long issue? Was it Detective Comics? I think it was the Detective Comics issue 1027, where they had Tynan tell a story. Bruce had like an apartment in like a shitty part of town, and he was living there and he was all alone. And it was like getting to him that he'd like lost everything and lost everyone around him.
Yeah, maybe that's a look to the future we can be seeing.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
Batman living in a shotgun shack in the middle of the ocean. Batman, Bruce Wayne, he becomes the new lighthouse keeper of Gotham Bay. Aquaman shows up. It's like, you're really stealing my shit. I lived in the lighthouse. And we got one last story that's actually setting up the Punchline miniseries, and it's actually kind of an interesting setup.
Yeah, Punchline Me Too's Joker.
She Me Too's Joker. She has a freaking YouTuber apology video complete with crying and everything. And I'm like, oh my God. And the Joker is so royally pissed about this. He's like, I was going to go back underground again. I was going to wait until the next big event until they need me. Nope. Dealing with this right now. It's not only the fact that she did those things, but then she also tries to like hijack and co-opt his message.
Yeah. Try to take it as her own. And as Joker says, he knows like she's really good at what she does, because this is just going to cause like a whole circus around this whole trial, and it's exactly what she wants.
It's kind of genius where Joker's like, oh no, I made a monster.
He's made his own Joker.
Yeah, basically, he's created his own Joker. I love that, where it's like, wow, Joker didn't understand the young people of today, and now it's biting him in the ass. That's actually
He didn't have one of those people Stormfront had to make the memes.
No. His meme game is very subpar. He had to borrow a phone. That's what Joker needs to do. He needs to like kidnap an entire IT crowd and put them to work. Look, I need to be up on the socials. Quick, post something on the Instagrams. What is TikTok? Do I need to know what TikTok is? Should I be on my hoverboard drinking the ocean spray cranberry? Should I do that? Man, I fucking love that guy. Did you see that, like, the head of Ocean Spray bought him a fucking car?
A car, yeah.
That's so goddamn dope. I love that. The funny thing is like, boy, I wasn't drinking cranberry out of this. It might look like it, but it wasn't.
Yeah, this is like mostly vodka.
No, really. Because you could tell he was having a great time. And yeah, that was Batman number 100, and I think it's cool that Tynion gets to stick around and actually gets to keep telling more stories after this.
I am looking forward to issue 101, mainly because we get more Ghostmaker, but also where Grifter is joining the team.
That's right, fucking Grifter is good. Someone remembered Grifter exists and is using him in a story.
And will probably make him more interesting than he's ever been.
Probably. Man, I would love it if Grifter is also just like a punching bag where it's like, Batman, you finally hit rock bottom, huh? That's where you find me, Grifter, at rock bottom. Batman, he's so poor and destitute now. He's like in the superhero soup line, and Grifter's behind him. Hey, Batman, I heard you lost everything. The chat saying, hey, can Tynion fix Damian? Now, don't worry, Tomasi gets to do that in his next arc.
Yeah, in his Detective Comics.
Which I'm very much interested in that, too. Damian coming home, and they're going to be fighting Hush.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Hush can do something worthwhile.
Yeah.
Lord knows he hasn't done that in a bit.
No, he hasn't.
Man, that's another video we got to do, like a list of characters who used to be cool, but like are not cool anymore.
It'll be a very, very long list.
It would be. Like for Halloween, like characters who used to be scary but aren't scary anymore. All right, what else did we have after that, Matt? We had our Batman, we had our X-Men. What else do you want to talk about?
We had Deceased, Dead Planet issue 4.
Yeah, man, talk about a series that just when I think I know where it's going and I have it nailed down, they completely take a left turn and do something completely different. And this issue was something completely different.
Oh yeah, I didn't think they'd pull these guns out this late in the game.
No, well, we say late, but it's issue 4 of 12. So.
Yeah, but it's like issue 4 of, or is it? No, it's 7 issues.
Oh, is it really? Why did I think it was 12 issues?
I know that, but it's issue 4 of 7 of the sequel that is technically the third sequel. Yeah, we had Unkillable, so it has been a while since they did something this big.
Absolutely. So they go on a space adventure thinking that the secret to curing the anti-life plague probably exists somewhere within Metron's Mobius chair. But to get there, they gotta go through New Genesis, and we get a big reunion of the New Gods.
Yep, Scott takes them back, and Orion is Orion, and Light Ray is Light Ray.
Gets punched. I love that.
Yeah, and yeah, we find that Scott's son Jacob is there, and he's been living on New Genesis for the last 5 years and kind of training to be, I guess, a new god, or as Highfather says, he could potentially be the new ruler of the universe.
Yeah, which is crazy. And I mean, like the biggest chunk of this issue is just Scott Free and his father Highfather having a conversation about parenthood and responsibility and not fucking up your kids, and it's like just really goddamn compelling.
Again, it's the one thing Scott can't escape.
Yes, which I love that so much. And he's like, yeah, I put my kid here because I wanted to save the world. I wanted to save Barda. I wanted to prove I could do it. And it's just like, I can't be in this kid's life if I'm that messed up. And Highfather comes back and says, oh yeah, because you really want me to be his role model, or Orion, or Light Ray, or Forager, because we're great role models.
Yeah. These guys, these dicks are great role models
for your kid. And then like Scott's like, oh my God, you're right. What is wrong with me? Which is such a beautiful human moment in this book about killer zombies.
Yeah. Again, it's full of those little moments.
Yeah, there's just so many layers and so many, little things to love about it. They try and steal the Mobius chair by literally just, what is it, jumping Metron.
just making him pull over his car because they got the flat tire, and then a bunch of people
literally.
jump out of the fucking woods.
Yeah, hey man, can you help? Yeah, literally that was their plot, where it's like, look, we'll use the crystal ball of Xanadu to get him here, and like, oh, it's shiny, don't you want to get him? Like, the only way it could have been sillier is if they, like, threw a sheet over him and, like,
Yeah, or they put, like, the crystal ball under, like, a cardboard box, like, propped up in the middle of, like, the asteroid field.
Oh, no one else is around, I guess I can have, oh no, a box. And then Mary Marvel's like, well, that plan didn't work, let's try and logic bomb him.
Yeah, let's just talk to him.
And he's like, you guys really should have opened with that. And yeah, Metron gets the crystal ball. Cyborg gets what he thinks is the secret to unlocking the cure, only for Metron to just get the fuck out of there after he sees the future.
Yeah, he's not very happy of what he saw, and is really panicky. And as Green Lantern says, it's like, when that guy panics, maybe we should panic as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's because, oh yeah, Darkseid ain't all the way dead.
No, he is now fully powered by the anti-life equation, like he always wanted, and he comes back as the unliving Darkseid,
which is a great name. And I love the little thing they put in there. It's like, what's to fear about the future? Oh, Darkseid isn't. Which is a wonderful callback to all that Darkseid is stuff that got so popular again.
Yeah, and then he ends up going to New Genesis and just wrecking shit.
Oh, great! Another group of people to spread this fucking plague to. Awesome.
Yeah, not just people, just new gods, really powerful beings.
Hey, if all the new gods die, isn't that like really bad for the universe?
Yes, it is. And again, when Cyborg sits on the chair, he sees like another catastrophe that's going to happen that'll destroy the very fabric of reality or something, and Dinah's like, yeah, we'll deal with that after we've dealt with the killer zombie virus. So maybe there's a hint at a crisis coming.
So yeah, we got the threat of the new gods dying. We got Trigun coming to reap the souls of everyone. So, oh yeah, and the killer zombies on top of that. So they are just fucked from 3 ways.
Are we sure this isn't set in the dark universe?
But it might as well be. I love that, where it's like 4 issues in. Hey, so even if we cure it, we're still basically doomed on all these other fronts.
Yeah, we still got so much to deal with.
Good shit. Gotta love it. What else was there this week? Oh, I had Justice League 54.
I did as well. It's the continuation of Doom Metal.
This is boring. I find this to be a very boring story. Also, it's the only death metal thing that's not a comedy.
I'd wager that it kind of sort of is, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's not as comedic as the other ones.
It's playing it much straighter. It's also kind of a weird stealth Titans reunion book.
Yeah. Again, it's characters who've all been on the Justice League at one point or another coming together, and we get a reunion through Cyborg and Starfire, who have been off with Justice League Odyssey, which I like that was referenced. I know that's a book that I don't think a lot of people read, yet it's still going.
No. Yeah.
That gets a reference here, and they talk about all their adventures in the Ghost Sector and everything.
They come back with new costumes.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of explained in Speed Metal, where like the Darkest Night, because of its influence over the world, it changes the heroes into these costumes. They're like dark reflections of themselves.
Was that their justification? I thought that was only for Flashes when he.
No, that was the Darkest Night manipulating the world is his influence.
Never thought he cared so much about fashion, but there it is.
Yeah, he wants Starfire has to have a mohawk.
Which is very cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Very cool. Yep.
I also very much like Vic's little beard.
Yep, and his military jacket.
It's a nice look, actually. The little beard. He should keep the little beard, actually. Also, they offhandedly fucking mentioned that Vic was a Titan. They like bring it up here, and I'm like, this should be a huge deal. And the fact that no one is talking about this means that no one cares about this story.
No, well, again, it's that universe sort of folding in on itself and all realities are canon at the moment, but they're not because this is not the real world. And
Yeah. I feel like there must have been like some 5G stuff, like a story in between there, because we saw, what is it, in the art for that Cyborg was back on the Titans, and now they're just bringing it up here like it's no big thing. I'm like, was this meant to be a bigger thing, and now it's not?
well, I think it's definitely going to be, because Snyder said in an interview recently, death metal leads straight into Future State, and again, Future State is the reboot 5G stuff.
Well, we'll see about that, Scott. Again, DC Comics has trained me to not get too excited for anything.
And they can change it at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, I'll believe it when the comic is in my hand. Thank you.
I mean, like Dan DiDio's not around anymore. I am like we've been seeing more and more Titan stuff sort of seep its way into comics and stuff. So I wouldn't be too surprised if something like that does happen.
That'd be nice. I'd like that. I'd like to be able to read Titans and Teen Titans again. Not just ignore it, but yeah. Then they find the Valley of the Starros, which is a cool image.
Yeah, they're all commanded by a Batman who was controlled by a Starro and took over the world.
Hey guys, is something bad going to happen if we walk through here? Yes, but we're going to do it anyway because the story can't happen if we don't.
Again, I like that. Again, a little bit of the comedy comes from like Lex telling them, like, "You guys are idiots for not following me. You're gonna fuck up and walk through Starro's land, and it's gonna backfire on you." And he says, "You guys are fools. You needed me because I wouldn't have done this because I know what I'm doing. You don't."
The only other really interesting thing about this book, and in fact, God, I wish this was the tie-in actually. It's Martian Manhunter duking it out with Mindhunter, who's the evil Batman Martian. And he basically brings up something really important that was left unresolved from Snyder's Justice League. And that is like, hey, this whole totality business is your fault. You told the League about it. You told them to go after it. All this other Martian stuff is connected to you, and you were just overcome with guilt about it.
Yeah, and hence why he went off on his own to try and make things right. And that didn't end very well for John, because he's been captured by the Mindhunter, who, as we learn, wants because his connection with the Justice League is still active, where they could meet in that ethereal meeting room and whatnot. And he wants that connection so the Darkest Knight knows what the Trinity are up to.
Because and I guess that'll the power of Dr. Manhattan didn't give him the power to do that too.
I guess that might lead into also how he was able to like put the Superboy Prime and all that in the past crises, because he eventually learns what they're up to.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, this of all the tie-ins, this is the one that excites me the least, only because it's just the most straightforward of all of them. I'm sure for some people they like it for that reason, but for me it's just like, I know it's missing a little extra sauce.
This is fair enough. It definitely isn't like as grand a scope as anything. It's more sort of focused on these characters, but yeah.
Ironically too, you know what else would probably have made this story better? Tell it from the point of view of Hawkwoman and Martian Manhunter, because they're the only two who actually have any connection to Justice League, the totality, and all this death metal stuff. Nightwing just became Nightwing a couple days ago.
They even referenced that in this book.
They did. And Starfire and Cyborg, they weren't even on Earth when any of this happened. They literally have zero skin in this game. Outside just being heroes and needing to save the world. And I'm like, don't lampshade the fact that they don't know what's going on and have no reason to do any of it. But yeah, that was Doom Metal. It is what it is. What else did you have? I had two more after that.
I had Thor issue 8.
Ah, shit, see, I haven't read this one yet. I was going to read that one next, but I did leaf through it, and some pretty big stuff happened.
Yeah, I said in my review, this is like a love letter to J. Michael Straczynski's Mighty Thor run, mainly because it's set in Broxton.
Sure is.
And we get round 2 of Thor versus Iron Man. And it goes just as well as you'd expect, which is Iron Man gets his ass handed to him, like he did in that first part.
Yeah, they fought very early on in that Straczynski book, didn't they?
They fought and Thor reminded Iron Man that he is literally just a man in a tin can.
Which is bad when I'm the god of thunder.
Thor obviously sent his hammer down to Earth to see if man is still worthy of picking it up, and in turn he would still be worthy. And he chose Adam Aziz as like the man who would be able to pick up the hammer and turn into a version of a Thor. And Iron Man came because Thor wrote on his hammer to call Iron Man, and we learned
doxed him.
Yeah, we learned the reason for that is that he needed someone he could trust there, because he doesn't think the people of Broxton would take very kindly to Asgardians returning.
True enough.
But yeah, Iron Man's not too happy because now we obviously know anyone can pick up Mjolnir.
Yes.
Iron Man actually even picks it up, and he's worried about like what would have happened if it had landed and like Doctor Doom came and picked it up, or like someone else. And Thor isn't too worried about that, but Iron Man is just finds it all insane. He wants to run tests on the hammer because it's obviously not working. And Thor wants it back, but Iron Man refuses to give it back and ends up hitting Thor with it, and that kind of pisses Thor off. And he has a great line where he summons like lightning and thunder and everything, and he reminds Iron Man that like just because he holds the hammer doesn't mean he has the power of a god. He still Thor still has the power of a god, and the man in front of him is just a man in a tin can in a thunderstorm.
Funny.
Yeah, and yeah, so they end up like he ends up getting it back, and they end up like making up and being friends again. And Iron Man tells Thor maybe he should take some time off and recharge his battery since he's been through so much and he hasn't had time to stop. Adam as well gives back the power, and it's such a nice role because like Adam, from what we learned of him, he's just like a simple mechanic, doesn't want much in the world. Yeah, ex-con and everything. He just like turns back into normal Adam and just like hands the hammer back and just like walks off. And it's like, oh, well, that was cool, see ya. And that's why he was chosen. That's why he was chosen. And he tells Thor as well, sort of similar to Iron Man, that like he knows machines really well, and the best option to fix them is often just turning them on and off again. And if that doesn't work, just hit them with a hammer. Taking that on, Thor returns to like his old home in Broxton and finds a photo of Donald Blake and decides he's going to go visit Donald Blake.
Ooh, man, when was the last time we saw Donald Blake?
Years ago. Ages.
That's a piece of Thor history that I think's forgotten. In fact, I don't know if one of the comic sites, if they were just being clickbaity, but I think like Thor 9 or whatever, they're like, oh, Donald Blake is back. Is it as a villain?
What? I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out then, because it's like it's Donald Blake, but in like in a really fucked up costume. Maybe that was a King in Black thing.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so there's a piece of Thor history that even Jason Aaron didn't touch on in his almost decade run. So there's something fun for Donny Cates to play with.
Yeah, again, Donny Cates is doing like maybe he's like doing like a love letter to like all of these. Like he did sort of like a grand epic story like Jason Aaron stuff in that Black Winter. He's referencing the Mighty Thor. He's going back through like all these past writers who have had big runs on Thor and kind of like paying homage to them.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking cool, actually.
Yeah.
Most def. All right, what else did I have? I'll get through this one quick because there's admittedly not all that much to talk about, but I had the big 850th Spider-Man issue this week.
I did as well.
I really liked this arc, but I could not help but feel that this story maybe not dropped the ball, but was just a little bit anticlimactic.
Yeah, well, first up, it did not need to be over 60 pages long.
No, it really did not. They made a big deal about it where it's like, oh yeah, it's in multiple chapters with multiple artists, and I'm like, you could really have gotten all this done in a regular 22-pager.
Absolutely, especially given that we've had like so much, like we've had that the Sins prelude, we've had that Sins of Norman Osborn story to fill in like all the gaps and everything. You didn't need to have an issue that's 60 pages long. That a lot of it just reiterated everything we knew.
Stuff we already knew, absolutely. But yeah, so Spider-Man and the Green Goblin are forced to actually team up because the Sin Eater has stolen the power of Juggernaut and is destroying Ravencroft Asylum and is going to kill/cleanse Osborn. Again, they keep making that thing where it's like, oh no, if he cleanses him, it'll be bad. Probably. We think, we're not really sure yet because we're still explaining what happens when you get cleansed.
Yeah, it's still very nebulous, but for all intents and purposes, yeah, you get cleansed. Sin Eater takes your powers or whatever you have. It takes on your sin, quote unquote, and you become like a remorseful man, basically. That's all that happens, really.
but you might also die like Overdrive did, or
Yeah.
be dying. There's a lot that hasn't been explained yet, but we basically knew that, hey, it's bad is
Mhm.
what it is. It's a bad thing, and you don't want it to happen. And going into the story, and I'm sure I mentioned this in other episodes, I liked the idea they were playing with here, that all of Spider-Man's friends, the Order of the Web, as they call them now, are like,
Mhm.
hey, you don't have to save Norman. You don't have to do it. But Spider-Man's like, no, I do, because literally my whole character is, predicated on the fact that I have great power and great responsibility. And the one time I didn't act is the time, I lost my uncle. So yes, I do have to save the worst person, even when that person is Norman.
Yeah, again, as Norman says, this issue, he doesn't really do a good job of saving people, but Spider-Man wants to do a good job now and actually save someone, and that someone just happens to be Norman Osborn.
Yeah, the worst person he's ever known. Yeah, they work together, and they fight Sin Eater, and you find out that, of course, Norman was up to evil stuff, building EMPs and everything. And they do a fun little callback to one of the first times Spider-Man ever defeated the Juggernaut by getting him stuck up in cement. So they do that again.
Mm-hmm.
And then there comes a big moment where it's like, Norman could kill Spider-Man, but he didn't. And now he's getting a second chance, and he is. So the Order of the Web have to step on in. Though Madam Web says that even if they stepped in, they were still too late anyway, and no one asked her any follow-up questions.
Yeah, and also that, like, they shouldn't step in because this is Peter's choice alone to make. So why are they stepping in anyway?
And that he'd live with. They have a whole conversation where Gwen actually starts making a lot of sense. Where she's like, "Look, we don't know who put those dreams in our head. In fact, at the end of the issue, it's heavily implied that Kindred did do it."
Yeah. Again, I think I said in one of my issues, it's very obvious Kindred is manipulating the Spider family against Spider-Man.
And that's what Last Remains is probably going to be about, because you're thinking like, oh, they're going to come in and try and stop Peter, and that's going to lead to a big fight. No, not this issue, but next arc probably, by the looks of it. And then again, we come to the big moment where it's like, oh, Spider-Man has a choice. Does he save Norman, or does is this finally the moment he kills Norman? And the button that he pushes is that Norman gets really, really creepy around Gwen, and a lot of people think he's referencing the Sins Past story.
Yep.
Doesn't come out and say it. I think he's referencing whatever you want him to reference. So if you think that's what he's talking about, that's what he's talking about.
Yep.
And Spider-Man decides, like, he basically does a very Batman, I don't have to, save you if I don't want to.
Yeah, he kind of, again, like Batman.
But then it's like, was not the whole point of this story to come in and save him?
Yeah.
And now you're leaving him behind. So like, was you're not making a choice the big moment here? I feel like this was supposed to be a big moment. It's just kind of not.
Yeah, it's again very strange, and I have to wonder, like, if this can't be like what Nick Spencer had planned out, and it feels like maybe this is like some editorial thing, where it's like you can kind of do this story, but you got to change all these like little things, like Norman Osborn can't obviously die and all this sort of stuff. And he was kind of like forced into doing that and writing around that, which is why we get like so much of the issue just reiterating stuff we already know.
Maybe Gwen was supposed to kill Norman. Wouldn't that have been
interesting? It kind of feels like that, because she had that whole build up in a couple of issues ago where she's talking about how like she's apparently the idealized version of Gwen, because and all that sort of stuff, and kind of felt like she was building up towards like she's going to come in at the last minute and kill Norman and kind of get revenge and whatnot.
And also save Peter, where it's like,
she didn't on her world, she didn't save him and everything.
Yeah, like that would make a lot of sense to her character. Like, I couldn't save my Peter, you couldn't save your Gwen. Well, I just saved you tonight, and now Norman's never going to hurt anyone ever again. Until he's brought back again, because they always get brought back.
Yeah.
It gets extra confusing, too, because then, like, we flash over to Kindred, and he's pissy that Spider-Man didn't do it, implying that that's what he wanted all along.
Yeah. It's very... Again, I think it's editorial.
There was definitely, like, it feels like there was a missing ingredient here. Even Sin Eater doesn't get beaten in the end.
No, he just kind of goes away.
He just goes away, even though they built him up to be such this unstoppable threat. And then it's like, okay, arc done, time to start Last Remains. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm excited for Last Remains, but it's just like this arc could have been like the best Nick Spencer arc, and it's just kind of like, oh, you kind of dropped the ball at the end there, didn't you?
Yeah, that's the thing. It was like building up to like one of the best Nick Spencer runs ever, because you got this like great story of like it's, as someone put it in one of my videos, it's like Spider-Man's version of what's so funny about truth, justice in the American way. It's
Yeah.
like Spider-Man with this moral like dilemma about like he can let this guy kill the villains, but in killing them they become good guys, and like is that moral? Like
is that morally right?
You could have all that, but then it feels like no, we got to put like Green Goblin in and like all this like classic Spider-Man stuff.
Is it because it was an anniversary issue? It's because it's like, no, you need to do something special for 850. You need to put something in here.
Yeah, and again, it's really funny that this issue is 850, yet we get issue 50 this coming week, where you would think they would have moved it so that like 850 is issue 50.
And then 50.5 not long after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird. I wanted more from this finale than what I got, and I guess this will be another thing where if I ever, sit down with Nick Spencer at a bar and ply him with drinks and be like, hey man, what did you really want to do here?
Yeah, it feels like it was heading in a different direction, and then editorial or someone said, no, you can't do that. Can't go in that direction.
It's a special anniversary issue. You got to have this, and this in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shame this one could have been really another thing that was lost, the socio-political commentary that Nick Spencer is so good at, where it's like, yeah, Sin Eater becomes a cult leader, he basically builds his own army of Proud Boy incels.
Yeah, they even made reference in like, I think it was like the third issue where like he was raising that gang, and then the gang started doing stuff on their own and just going after people who were literally different than them. It's like, oh, they're Proud Boys. Yeah,
they were attacking mixed race couples and burning down mosques and everything.
Yeah. And then that just went out the window.
Which is funny. One person in my video who I ended up having to ban, he's like, oh, look, Nick Spencer's talking about Antifa. I'm like, shut the fuck up. No, he isn't. Are you not paying attention?
They don't burn mosques.
Yeah, no. That's a very particular type of person. Also, too, Mr. Negative showed up and Sin Eater stole Mr. Negative's power, and then that didn't even really end up going anywhere.
Yeah, again, is Martin Lee dead? Like that seems that was like what it could. We never saw him again after that, and he was just like had a big bullet hole in his chest.
He was cleansed. Like I kept thinking, where I was like, okay, so Sin Eater has taken his power, so like obviously Sin Eater is gonna turn Spider-Man's friends against him, and that's gonna be the big fight at the end, right? And no.
Yeah, again, it was all these parts that sort of led you to believe what was going to happen, and you have to think logically. Nick Spencer would have thought of that. If we thought of that, he would have thought of that because he's writing it.
You would think so, but yeah, that was Spider-Man 850. Could have been better. Here's hoping Last Remains does something new and interesting. Apparently, again, Doctor Strange is going to be involved, and apparently they're bringing an old hero back to life. Yeah.
Well, again, who do you think was in that grave at the end that Kindred was looking at? Because we never saw we never saw the front of it.
I'm thinking maybe Flash Thompson, because he's been dead just long enough, and they make the point of saying hero. And I was talking about this with Sal today, in fact, what if it's Jean DeWolf? They didn't say superhero. What if it's just hero?
Again, she's been like kind of built up throughout this whole, like with Sin Eater. Sin Eater uses her like badge, and she was a big part of that prelude issue with like what Stanley Carter went through and everything. So I could see that.
What if this is like some crazy like horror movie rule shit where it's like only Jean DeWolf can kill Sin Eater now, where it's like it's like wrestling, she's got to get her win back and be strong for SummerSlam. She's got to avenge her own death. Also, too, if she comes back from the dead too, then that's one less Kindred suspect. So that would be interesting. Honestly, if I had to bet, I think the safe bet would be Flash. I think it's like, has Flash Thompson been dead just long enough now?
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. I could see him come back and being like the next version of Sin Eater or whatever for Kindred and fighting Spider-Man and whatnot.
Because again, with Flash, that's another person you can tick off the list too. Anyone who does come back to is someone to probably tick off the list of potential Kindred suspects.
Yeah.
Also, if Flash came back, I guess he couldn't be Venom anymore. He'd have to be like Agent Anti-Venom again.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Or like Kindred would give him something that like mimics symbiotes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, give him a similar costume. I wonder. Huh.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Well, issue 50 is out this week, I think.
Yeah, because again, with a name like Last Remains, you figure it's like, okay, dead people coming back, and that's basically been Kindred's thing so far, If you can bring back Sin Eater, can bring back anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
All right, I only had one more, and it was Champions, and I'll be quick about it.
Oh, tell me about Champions.
So this is the real next part of the Outlawed storyline. Those tie-ins really didn't count. Like, the tie-ins, like, make sense, but clearly there was supposed to be an order to this, and the delays fucked up the order. This was clearly supposed to be part 2.
Yeah.
And that being said, pretty good. Eval Ewing does a good job writing the young heroes.
Nice.
Yeah, it's them dealing with the fact that they've all been outlawed now. Kamala does like a big internet stream talking to all the Champions fans out there that, you know, we're gonna fight through this and we're gonna be the outlaw generation. And Miles is like, you didn't ask me about that. In fact, when I went to your hospital bed, you kicked me out. And now you're kind of like making deals. I don't like that at all. And like Miles's school is really divided. Like, one kid almost gets expelled for wearing a Champion's shirt, and
wow.
another girl who Miles really liked is like super quick to like get on the Cradle bandwagon. Like, yeah, hey everyone, put your jackboots on and let's out some of our friends. And Miles is like, yo, I do not like how this is going. And like Miles almost gets caught up in a sting operation for young heroes.
Yep.
Like the NYPD like fakes a mugging to try and catch him. And again, this is true in all of the tie-ins, and it's a really funny thing that I'm sure is 100% intentional, where it's like, the cops in Cradle are spending millions of dollars and tons of man-hours to try and catch these heroes and stop them from saving people. Maybe they could just use those resources to save people. No, we need a good scapegoat. And Miles goes to a big meeting of all the young heroes, and again, this feels like the most Civil War bit where they all argue basically what to do next, and it comes to a big head. But what I like about it is that none of the Champions we know and follow are the ones being the assholes in this situation. It's Starling who actually is the asshole.
So the new ones, yeah.
Well, okay, Starling is interesting. Again, I don't think you were reading Solid in Amid Spider-Man, but he invented a new Vulture character called Starling, who is actually the granddaughter of Adrian Toomes.
Yeah, I think she was in the end of that 850 issue, wasn't she? Yeah.
She was, yes. So she's like an anti-hero and was never a champion before, but I guess Miles invited her to this because he's trying to tap dad. And I mean, who wouldn't? Just look at her, and she's the one being a total bitch, and she's the one like, you know, talking mad shit about Kamala, which means she starts butting heads with Nova, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. This person is the one who's causing the trouble. And then Cradle comes to bust them up, and Justice is there, and of course they're like, man, you used to be a young hero yourself. You used to be a new warrior. What the fuck are you doing? And eventually it's revealed that there's a mole, there's a traitor inside the Champions.
Ooh.
Someone dropped a dime on them, and maybe it's someone we know because the information that Cradle was given was written in Synthoid language.
Ooh, I wonder who that could be.
Oh, Viv died, right? Which Viv died, but like it only gets brought up once, where it's like, she's a robot, we'll rebuild her.
Again, it could just be like red herring and someone framing Viv.
It certainly seems to be that way, because the Cradle guys are like, oh, well, maybe Vision is mad at the kids because, you know, his daughter died on their watch, and this is his way of, like, getting back at them.
Snitching on the kids.
He's literally, the fucking robot man is snitching on the goddamn kids, dropping a dime to 5-0. But we actually see Viv flying around where it's like, oh, so maybe she didn't die then. Interesting.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, this should have been the next part of Outlawed. Like, all those tie-ins were fine, but this is the next part of the story.
And I think it probably would have fared better had there not been any delays, because this is meant to come out before Empire, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
They had a whole order, including like a Power Pack tie-in and that new Warriors thing from Kibble Smith that got the internet all pissed off. Yeah, no, it's completely out of order now.
Oh, god damn. Yeah, because I was looking forward to that new Warriors book, because
just to see what the hell it's about.
Yeah. God damn, the delays just ruin stuff. Like last week, I had Falcon and Winter Soldier issue 3. I looked it up. Issue 2 came out 6 months ago.
Wow. Yeah, that's about this thing too. I'm pretty sure Outlawed 1 came out 6 months ago too.
Yeah, it's just insane.
It really is. Goddamn. But so Champions was all right. I dug it. Again, it's very different from the Wade and Zub era. Oh, that's another funny thing. So they talk about some Champions have already been arrested by Cradle.
Mm-hmm.
Guess the two who are already arrested.
Who?
Snowguard and Red Locust, aka the original characters Zub and Wade had created for their
Yeah.
individual runs.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, way to fucking clean house, eval you, and get out of here, original characters. I might want to make my own.
That sucked though, because I really liked Red Locust. I thought she was cool.
I liked Snowguard too, because she was fucking Cree Canadian. Like, literally, Zub created that character just for me. But yeah, I thought that was really funny that those two characters are gone. I don't think she did it in a mean way. I think she did it in like a look. There's enough young heroes to have to deal with already. I can't take on your own passion projects.
And again, it kind of moves them off the board to be able to like, oh, I can bring them back later on because I know where they are now.
Yeah. So that was all I had. Did you have anything else?
I had Star Wars issue 8. Issue 8.
Oh, yes.
Issue 8. I think it's issue 8.
Star Wars continuing.
Is it issue 8? I'm just gonna check to make sure. 7. Issue 7.
Still chugging along there.
Yeah, this was an Empire-centric issue because we learned more about Commander Zara, who's like the new villain of this arc, who's got a bone to pick with Princess Leia. We learned a bit about her backstory, about how she became Grand Moff Tarkin's protege by killing all who tried to be his protege and basically take command. And she rose through the ranks and she was sent on a mission to disrupt a criminal who is, it's again more hints at High Republic because he's using old rhetoric that the space pirates that are the main villains in High Republic used.
Ooh,
he's using that rhetoric to like turn people against the Empire and sort of sow dissent and everything. And Tarkin is very specific and he wants his head. And this Commander Zara, she's very smart. She utilizes probe droids as like spy drones to like follow the person back to his base and then basically bomb it to shit. And she thinks she's done it, returns to the Death Star only to learn that she actually killed a decoy. And the real criminal is using this as sort of like to embarrass the Empire. Like, look, they couldn't even figure out that was a decoy. Like the Empire is stupid. So because of that, she gets busted down and sort of displeased Tarkin, and she hates that because she's like a Tarkin simp.
Okay, yeah, man, I simp for Tarkin.
Yeah,
so hard.
She's really hates that, and so she wants to go make things right and go kill the criminal. And this also happens to just be at the point where the rebellion starts to attack the Death Star. So she ends up getting off the Death Star just before it explodes, and obviously Tarkin dies and everything, so she doesn't know what to do. So
who am I gonna simp for now?
Yeah. So then that's why she named her ship after Tarkin and everything, and got the body pillow and whatnot, and
you know there probably is a Tarkin body pillow out there somewhere.
But yeah, no, she hates Princess Leia because Leia was the one who sort of coordinated the attack, got the Death Star plans and whatnot, and she ends up going... I
like this, making a Leia arch nemesis, basically.
Yeah, and she ends up going after Leia and the rebel fleet, but what she doesn't know is Leia is anticipating that and ends up, it's basically the arc I'm calling is just called The Rebellion Strikes Back, because that's exactly what happens. They catch the Imperials off guard, and next issue looks like it's going to be a huge big space battle.
Sweet.
Yeah, a damn good book under Charles Soule.
Yeah, I forget that those Star Wars books are still out there and are all pretty solid.
Oh yeah, we've got Charles Soule writing that. We've got Greg Pak writing the Darth Vader book. I think Ethan Sachs is still writing Bounty Hunters. It's all really damn good.
When does High Republic start? Wasn't that supposed to start soon?
It was, but it got the first novel got pushed back to January, and then after that we get like the comics and everything else.
Right, and everything that's going on with that. Well, that's definitely something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
Well, Matt, we talked for 2 hours. This ended up being one of the longer shows.
Yeah.
I think we had such little news.
Yeah, I know.
All right, so I will leave everyone here. I got to start prepping for Canadian Thanksgiving soon. So thank you, everyone who joined us on stream. As always, you can find us on Twitch over on Matt's channel. That's Matt_FOS. Sunday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We usually always try and start around then. If you're a patron, you'll get to hear the audio and see the video version before anyone else over on Patreon. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month. Again, anyone who can find it in their heart, especially in these trying times, to do so means the world to me and Matt. If you are in Canada, you can still use our Amazon link down in the description to buy something and support the show. If not, that's fine too. Just putting it out there so you know. What else? You have anything else coming up, Matt? Anything you want to promote?
Not really. I'm going to be streaming towards the end of the week. I tried streaming last week, but got too busy with stuff. But hopefully the end of this week is a little bit more quiet for me, so I can do a bit of streaming. I'm going to be streaming like Squadrons, maybe some Baldur's Gate, maybe.
Ooh, there you go. I want to stream. I swear I have this weird stream anxiety where it's like, I'm gonna do it now. No.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's like nothing's ever bad has happened to me when I stream. All our fans are super nice and cool. Why am I like that? And then it's like, you clearly don't have a problem talking in front of people. We just talked in front of people for 2 fucking hours.
You're afraid of having a DSP moment. You leave your camera on.
I wouldn't be worried about that. I'd own it. I'd be like, yes, everyone. Yes, I did.
This is the first piece of marketing in my OnlyFans.
Yes, I'm starting a new OnlyFans. See, that's how you do it. That's how he did it wrong. You should have been like, guess what? If you want more, come to my OnlyFans. Too hot for Twitch. And yes, everyone, if you want more Too Hot for Twitch content, be sure to also check out every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The show drops. You can find it there, everyone. And again, be sure always to comment and tell us what you like about the show. It helps the algorithm, and we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
So we will see you all again next week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.